We in here. We in here.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with the most low budget yet most bad and bougie unorganized podcast. So unorganized that there's only two of us here tonight.
Mm-hmm. And then there were two.
And then there were two. So it's your girl, the moderator, Keem. Hi, everybody. And we got
Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I got to introduce myself and then be
Right.
like, hey, how's everybody doing out there?
Right.
And,
Right.
and we have our other faithful podcaster. Yep, that's Shade. That was Shade.
Super
T.
shade. What's up, y'all?
Okay, so I guess we should start out by letting everybody know why there's only two of us on tonight.
That'd be a good place to start.
So
They're on deployment.
yeah, they're deployed. They're out there. They're out there doing PR and marketing. They are actually on someone else's podcast tonight talking about Superman and Death Note. So we're happy for them to. Can we call them our counterpart? Can we like our cohort?
Cohorts.
Cohorts. Yeah.
That may work.
Shout out to JVS. Check out their YouTube channel. Shout out to SEL0320. Not sure why. I get why it calls itself that, but that's a lot to say. But
You sound like you with the T1000 with that name. like I should be worried about next time I see you.
Skynet like shit. Like,
Right.
hey, don't you be doing none of that melty shit over here around us.
Hell no. You know, it's the black man always causes a problem with in that world.
Right. He's about to fuck around and start the computer revolution with his podcast.
You remember how pissed off Lou was about us taking so much time on Death Note?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to listen to that podcast. I'm gonna have to listen to that podcast.
Is he even going to be on that one though? Or is it just going to be him in the background, quiet as shit, huffing like?
I can't believe y'all spent 3 hours on Death Note, where Superman been out forever, been falling off horses since '88.
Like I bet somebody wrote him on the Death Note, and now we sitting here talking about it, disrespecting that man's memory.
Right.
Rest in peace, Christopher Reeve.
Look like we talked about that too much on our show. Blah, blah, blah. Like, all right, good plug, nigga. Good plug.
Right,
but still.
Y'all could have been here for that, but that's okay. Yeah, so
Street team, what's up?
yeah. They out there handing out flyers, and we should have t-shirts.
T-shirts would be good.
T-shirts would be dope. I was thinking hats, but my hair is too big for me to wear hats anymore. So
Speaking of shout outs though, I was listening to the JVS podcast on the spoiler review of It.
mm-hmm.
And so there was an issue with the mics at the beginning as far as Lou is concerned. So Mo started to introduce us, and he was like, yeah, the show's real live, this. And for some reason, I felt like the direction Mo was going was awesome. And then Lou mic cut on, and he was like, it's a low budget podcast. And I was like, oh no, we were going in such a good direction. But no, it was a good shout out nonetheless. I just kind of wanted to hear all of the good stuff Mo had to say.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, Mo. I mean, we are low budget, but we like to hear people like talk us up.
Yeah. Lou spilling the beans. Let us spill our own beans.
Right, like Lou, shut up, just go with it. Let us have this. Let us be a live podcast.
Right.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, our bad, what do you call them, Bad and Luigi?
Yeah.
Like our Bad and Luigi member and our wild card aren't with us tonight. So, like I was telling T before we started, this is either going to be entertaining for y'all or it's going to be dry as fuck. Because
the two organized people in the group.
We're organized and we're casual as shit. So
the moderator and the shrug. It's like the whole right half of the squad ain't on this, but
right.
They'll be back tomorrow.
Here's hoping. Um,
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. We don't know if they'll be here tomorrow until tomorrow. So,
until tomorrow, right?
and it
Like,
may be 15 minutes before we go on. So,
yeah, we'll like set a time, be like, all right, everybody, squad assemble at 8, and then at like 8:03, somebody will be like, I'm running late. Like, no shit, nigga. Yeah, we see you.
I
But,
low key wanted, like, Chris was like, "What time y'all going on?" I low key wanted to be like, maybe we should have some guest appearances tonight. It'd be like a good look because it's the finale of um,
insecure.
Insecure. Yeah, and I was like, people got stuff to say, and you know, I think our other counterparts are tiring on Insecure, even though it's the last episode. And
Right.
so I was like, maybe, but that kind of feel like cheating a little bit. Like,
Uh,
feel dirty a little bit. Like, yeah, we got other people
does
on the
it
show and they not
though?
on.
Does
I
it
don't
feel
know.
like cheating when they're on somebody else's podcast right now?
I mean, actually, it would be a fair trade. Like, all right, let's trade. Let's get two of y'all, and y'all can take our two, and they go on your show. We get two of y'all on our show. It kind of would have been an even trade. It's kind of just the off season, like
Right.
free agency period.
Like we all out here trying to
Right.
do our hustle.
Get that max
Um,
contract.
right. But either way, it's cool. It would be awesome to have Chris on at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Let's start out talking about what happened to us over the weekend.
Old people
Uh,
shit.
oh my gosh, old as fuck. So my bestie came into town, and before she got here, I was like hyping her up, like there's this comedy show in Alexandria. We're gonna go. We're gonna turn up. It's gonna be awesome. And
You already knew.
well, that number one, I told her about it before old ass me thought she could go and hang out on a Wednesday night. I didn't even stay out that late.
Wait, she was there Wednesday?
No, I went out by myself on Wednesday because my
Oh,
friend was DJing at a lounge, and
that's
so
right.
like we were trying to go and make sure that she had, she looked like she was pulling in numbers and stuff because we want her to shine.
Right.
So got out there on an empty stomach and had my one drink and was like, oh, this was a bad idea. I should have ate. And I'm still tired. I think I'm still tired from Wednesday. So by Friday, when my friend got here, we went and got lunch. Ida started kicking in. She took a nap. I was still working. So like I was working from home. So I'm still like trying to get all my work stuff done.
Low key though, once you take that nap, once you take that nap, it kind of fucks the rest of the night. Like you just be remembering how good that sleep felt. It's like, and then especially if only one of y'all took the nap, because the other one was looking at him hating the whole time. Like, why she making that nap look so damn good? Like, I gotta sit here and
I
work.
was a little salty because she was reading a book or like doing something on her phone at first, and then I was like, oh, okay, so she's still up. She's hanging with me. And then I looked over again, and she had like turned on her side and was out. And I was like,
Oh
damn,
man,
she looks like she's sleeping so good right now,
she fell asleep. That's that good shit. The good one
right?
when you fall asleep.
I'm here doing expense reports and shit. Like, okay, so by like 7:30. We were trying to make plans to go to Charming Charlie's to do a little shopping first. And I was like, you know how far Charming Charlie's is though? Like maybe we can just go to Target.
No shit.
And then we sat here and started talking about dating and life and relationships and looked up and it was like 8:45. And so we were like,
Target was kind of a bad plan though, because who goes in Target and walk out with what they went in there for?
Target was a terrible plan because we went in for earrings and I came out $50 broker. Like,
Yeah, that's how it's like a 15 times multiplier on whatever you go in there for. You're gonna come out looking at your bank account like, the way my checking and savings
like
work.
maybe we don't do dinner tonight. Like I legit came out with eyeliner and a pirate hat for my guinea pig. Like
A freaking pirate hat.
but his Halloween's gonna be lit though.
They're gonna be at the door handing out snacks.
Yeah, like here, pig, throw it at him. And then I know you and Lou were talking about doing karaoke, and I was like, maybe we could slide out there. My eyes were just like, nah, nigga. This
Mhm.
is, you will be sleep. You will be on 295, knocked out. Like, or her shaking me, trying to get me to wake up. So we just went out, we got some wine, came back, watched a shitty teen angst movie on Netflix, and then just kind of chopped it up for a little bit and went to
What
bed.
movie was that? I think that shit popped up on my feed.
Reality High.
Yeah.
That was, I think I sent y'all the trailer like
You
the day
did. You
before it
you said
dropped.
you hate movies like this or something like this or like something like that. You said something. What did you say?
Yeah, like I said, I hate this thing. It almost seems like now when they're doing like these teen angst love stories, it just almost
Mm-hmm.
feels like somebody like in the 70s wrote a script and they didn't put any names in it. So
Mm-hmm.
anytime you're struggling for a movie, you just pull out this script and add a name because it's always like unpopular girl,
Right.
unpopular, seemingly unattractive girl, and unattractive really just means that she's wearing glasses and she didn't comb her
And she
hair.
got her hair up. Yep.
Right.
It's in a messy bun or something. Not another
Like,
teen movie. Not
right.
another teen movie. It's exactly that same
And
shit.
that's how I felt. And so like unpopular girl with glasses and ponytail falls for the jock of the high school who's dating the super popular, super pretty girl.
Mm-hmm.
Jock and popular girl break up. Unpopular girl like gets a shot. The pretty girl like does something really, really shitty to her. But you know, in the end, everything works out okay.
And Netflix currently has that as a top pick for me. I
don't
I kind of
don't
want
do it.
to take them to counseling. Like, I don't think you know me like that. What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say about me? That's when
Yeah.
you feel like maybe my girl been on my on my account. You got your own profile. Don't be going on my joint fucking up my recommendations.
Right. I used to share a Netflix profile and it was just all over the fucking place because I watch anime and bad movies and love stories. You would just be like, really? This is what you were watching today?
Yeah, those used to be fighting where like nah, stay on your profile. Even if we gotta show both of us watching, it's like a debate. All right, who profile is going on? She like, it ain't no
Right.
big deal. I'm like, nah, nigga,
No, it matters.
it's a
It
big
matters.
deal. It matters.
Because you're not about to have all these
Rom
scandalous
com.
shows popping up on my shit every time I'm trying to scroll through, figure out what to put on my list.
Trying to find gangs in New York, and you got rom coms everywhere. Nah.
Yeah, and I've started like on my work from home days, I started watching like the bad black movies. So
Mhm.
my suggestions are crazy right now. I'm just looking through like I shouldn't watch this,
It's
but I'm
mad.
gonna.
It's
Yeah.
mad thumbnails of like just two people, of like two black people just staring in the camera.
Hmm. Or like one dude surrounded by a whole bunch of angry black women.
Uh-huh. In the middle of it. The
And he's
nigga from
looking.
apartment B.
Yes,
It's like,
yes. That's
come
how it
on.
started. That's exactly how it
Mm-hmm.
started. And then I watched, is it the preacher's son or the pastor's son? And then it
Oh,
just spiraled out of control from there.
that's how the names speak too.
Yeah. Like I might need an intervention soon.
The names be
Oh.
like black. It'd be like black drama in Target in the book section. That's how your whole Netflix joint look.
It's true. It's it's true. So I know you were supposed to go see it on Friday, and then
Yeah. See
plans
what
changed.
happened was, so yeah, I was planning on getting off work at 7, and like me and you are super logistical. So it's like logistics mean a lot on what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. So
Hmm.
I also know that if I don't plan shit ahead of time, I'm probably not going to do it. I had
It's
went
true.
ahead and bought my ticket. First of all, when buying movie tickets, um, I'm now stuck in a place between bougie but not lugie, not Lou bougie, but bougie. Um, and convenience. So I'm not. It's like, how far do I want to drive after I leave the movie? Okay,
Right.
that's a small part of it. It's not that big, depending on what time the movie is. But then the other part is, you got movie theaters with the recliner seats. So I'm like,
Yes.
I'm gonna pick those and the ones with the assigned seats. I ain't gotta fight nobody over a seat. But you know what? It's a lot easier to find a seat when it's just one person. And that's
Hmm.
another part of this story is that it was just gonna be me because I don't have anyone who likes horror movies. So it's like I'm also stuck between that rock and the hard place and that, where it's like, well, it'll be one lady friend that I have who wants to see the movie. I'm like, you don't
Mm-mm.
exist right now because that's not going to happen. So
Like, nope. We need an adult. We need a
we
chaperone.
need an adult. we need a cushion seat with a person in it. So it's like, yeah. So when you're going by yourself, it's probably not a good idea to get a reclining seat. It's two things about the reclining seats for me. One of it is pride. The other part is being old. So like, anyway, all right. So I thought I was gonna
Hmm.
get off work at 7. I got off work at like 6, something like that. So I had an extra hour. The movie didn't start till 9:45.
Oh
So
shit.
I was kind of in that gray area where it was like, if I go home,
Not coming back out.
I'm not coming back out. And who wants to come home and not take their pants off? Like, get comfortable. So I knew I was gonna fall asleep if I came home. So
Hmm.
I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and which is also weird to do by yourself sometimes if you don't sit at the bar. So just sit at the bar, be normal. So I'm sitting at a table, like not the table you sit at, but a table near the bar, and I'm like my drink. So I was like, okay, I'm only here because the movie theater is down the street. So I'm thinking this is good because it wastes time. Like no time is not going by, and I'm just like, this thing doesn't start until 9:45. So he finally brings me my beer. And I'm like, he like, you want to order food? I said, so what's going to have to happen is I'm going to have to finish this first tall glass of beer. And then once I get the second one, go ahead and put the food order in. And he was
Hmm.
like, all right, I got you. I got you. I got you. So I'm like, okay, cool. But I underestimated how I needed that food before that first tall glass of beer because the way that fuck it creeped into my system, I just didn't even I underestimated it. I was just like, all I'm thinking is food. And, once you break the seal, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be in this movie theater going to the bathroom every 20 minutes,
Right.
recline, more than likely next to some big nigga who really wanted to see it, who was like, I couldn't get nobody to go with me, who sound just like me and shit.
Right. Now y'all
And
bonding.
now we bonding, recline, sharing an elbow joint. Like, you want to keep the armrest up? Like, on some awkward, which is never a question, but that's just how you feel. You're like, can you lean that way and recline? I lean this way and recline.
Like you got a whole ass other arm over there you could be leaning on, but you want to lean on me for body heat. Don't.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, chill, chill. So you're like, I don't want to be in the dark with another nigga at the moment, and I don't want to be reclined. So I'm comfortable next to them. I don't want to fall asleep and be snoring in this movie theater and be embarrassed around all these niggas. So it's like, I just say nigga a lot in the last sentence, but it's it was. I was like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go. I'm not going to cancel it just yet, but I don't know. And then Lou was like, he was trying to go to the comedy show that you were no longer going to. So he was like, T, you still out? Blah, blah, blah. You going to your movie yet? Or he's like, T probably going to be in the movie by the time I get over there. I was like, I was just actually thinking of canceling possibly. So if you want to hit Remington's up, I'm right down the street. So that's what we ended up doing. We ended up going to Remington. So it wasn't quite the old man move. Like, it was partially old man, like young man, old man, because I didn't want to fall asleep in the movie theater, which I can blame the alcohol on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the food, because I'm black, so it could be alcohol plus blackness,
And itis. Yeah.
carry the one. And then, yeah, so then Miss Pap says, I can get away with not going to the movie theater, but we ended up going to Remington's and doing karaoke. Neither one of us did it because it was kind of awkward for one of us to do it. Because everyone in there was like, the women were in there shooting shots,
Damn.
and the men were in there as far as with their karaoke. Like they were sending subliminals, like I should have cheated, getting cold and shit, like staring the nigga like from across the room in the eye. This one chick sang like 3 Lil Kim songs in a row, and I was just looking at her like, who hurt you? Like, who hurt you?
Why are you like this?
Why? You didn't even sing the popular ones. You sung all the hurt ones. Like, Lil Kim was never this hurt. She was like, I was bad B at one point. You reduced me to this hurt and anguish. And
Oh, fuck.
I'm like, yo, between you and what's the old dude name? Oh my gosh. You know the one I'm talking about, Keem. The old white dude with the Coke bottle glasses who hit on all the black women there. Warren. Warren.
I never learned his name, but
oh my God. I know his name because Warren does like like he waits till like 2 people go and then Warren's name pop back on there. And I'm like, this nigga is singing the most depressing songs ever. Like at any point I was expecting Adelaide. I was like, yo, I was like, Warren is gonna have somebody come out the bathroom with a trumpet, like singing, like it was so depressing. And I'm like, how doesn't he's not reading the room at all? Like somebody give him
Warren
the script to Pumps in a Bump or something.
He did not give a fuck. He was like, this is how I'm feeling tonight, and I'm gonna sing the hurt away. So
well, he kind of scared me for a second though, because like I talked to him for a little, we talked in passing, but his name was on the board and I just saw him and they called his name like a few times and he was nowhere to be found. I looked at Lou, I was like,
Warren dead.
Somebody need to go check the parking lot because Warren don't miss no song. I was like, if this nigga dead somewhere, I'm gonna be sad as shit because I've been frying him all night. I've been frying him all night, and if he is not here with us anymore, but I also just said that I was like, we're gonna see Warren like, I don't like talking about that, but we're gonna see like his name pop up in the newspaper or something one day, and we're gonna be like, damn, that was the dude from Remington's who did all the karaoke. That was that dude. And blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he be hitting on all the black women.
Damn.
But, yeah, women were shooting their shots. Men were in there, like, dismissing women. like she's
because they had their pick.
Yeah, just, it was kind of fun, but it was mostly ridiculous. And some people thought that it was American Idol. So
yeah, I'm kind of sad I missed it, but also like I had 0 energy. So
yeah.
So I was like, another time. I'll wait till she comes back, like when she's down here again on a Friday, and we'll all go out and hit up karaoke at Remington's. But I'll take that disco nap first. Like,
yeah, New York was like, you don't ever try to take me to Remington's. I like karaoke. I was like, damn, my bad. We ain't even, when you legit got like real reasons, but it's still kind of fucked up. So you be like, damn. I mean,
like one day,
it'll happen.
like we're always busy doing other stuff. So,
but you were supposed to be going to the movies. So like,
oh,
like what had happened was I'm trying to figure out how to not start my sentence was see what had happened was
because that's truthful at that point.
It doesn't, but that's what had happened. So.
Yeah, I Saturday night I helped a friend. He's trying to like get into the cooking scene, and so he is assisting like this chef. And so the chef agreed to do like an in-home birthday party for 27 people. So they're like cooking for 27 people in this kitchen, like in real time. And they asked me if I could come and help out. So I came through to help, like, kind of, do the server thing, make sure everybody's wine glasses were filled, pick up the empty plates, put down the plates.
Have you done that before?
That was my first. I've waitressed before, but that was my first time doing like a private event.
Oh, okay.
And it was cool, but it was weird because I was the only Black person there.
Including your friend?
Including my friend. He is Peruvian. So,
Okay.
but everybody else was like from Belgium and maybe
I can see how that's weird. Were you the only person serving? Because
yes,
I would have. Oh
yes.
no!
And I'll tell
Oh
you what
no!
happened. The
No!
first the first weird thing was the hostess came up to me and was like, "Oh my gosh, you're so tall and pretty." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." But like the more I was standing around, the more I started like having get out visions in my head.
Right?
Like, are they going to try to like auction me off? Is this the whole reason why they picked me? What is
Right.
happening? Why am I here? But I was like, okay, stop tripping, stop tripping.
You ain't
Um,
tripping. That shit real.
I did though. I did send my location like
Mm-hmm.
to. I was like, hey, this is where I am. If you don't hear from me by the end of the night, like I'm dropping this pin so you know where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So the second weird thing that happened was the hostess came to me and was like, "Hey, can you like about 15 minutes before everybody's supposed to get here, can you go around and light candles?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And there were candles everywhere. I lit like 50 candles. Candles on the tables, candles like where like the wine was being held. And so I lit all the candles and then I looked out into the backyard and she had tiki torches.
Hold up. Why
Yeah,
one person need to light all the candles?
because there was only one lighter. And she was upstairs, like she made sure that everything, all her name cards and stuff were out, and then she went upstairs to get dressed. My friend and the chef were in the kitchen, like prepping. So it was just me.
Mm-hmm.
So I light the candles, and just as I'm finishing lighting the last candle, she comes back down and she's like, "Oh, this looks so beautiful," and it was really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And like her and her daughter come down, and she's like, "Oh, the tiki torches," and I'm like, I still have the
Hold
lighter in
up.
my hand.
I'd have tossed that bitch to her. Like, here you go.
I wasn't even thinking about it. So I'm just like, "You want me to light those? Because I
Were
have the
they already
lighter."
in the ground?
Yeah.
She was like,
Yep.
"Oh, you're so tall. I can't reach them." Like,
So I mean, she was cool about it though. She was like, "If you don't mind, can you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And her daughter like runs out of nowhere, and it's like, "I'll light them. I'll light them." So I'm like, "Okay." My daughter's like early 20s, so I hand her the lighter, like, go for it, chief.
I'm
And
sorry. Early 20s.
yeah,
I totally pictured like a 6-year-old when you
no,
was like, "I'll light them. I'll light them."
no, like she was like nervous, like, "No, no, I got it. I'll light these. I'll do it." So I'm just like, okay, maybe she has a thing about tiki torches. Like that's been her favorite tradition for forever. I'm
I'm
not
never
gonna
good
ruin
for you,
that for
mom.
her.
I'm never
Right.
good for you.
I'm
You
not good
always
enough to
get
light
me.
the tiki torches. So so I'm just like, here you go. So the rest of the evening, it's going rather smoothly. Like there was a few moments in there, like when I was going around to make sure that everybody had wine. So I got like a bottle of red in one hand, bottle of white in the other. And I get to this table, and like as I'm walking up, all I can hear is like Trump, 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 Trump. And I'm like,
Mhm.
ah, shit. And then
Y'all
I
don't
get to
need nothing.
the I walk up to the table and the guy's like, "What you have to realize about the Civil War and slavery." And I was like, "Nope." So I just went right on to the next table, like, "Y'all niggas about to be thirsty because you're not getting
Mm-hmm.
no wine from me." And
Nope.
he very well could have been saying, slavery was horrible and the Civil War was necessary, but
Should have got
I
to it
couldn't chance
faster.
it.
You saw me coming.
Right,
You
I
better
couldn't
spit that
chance
out
it.
first.
And I had my big ass afro wig on too, so it's not even like,
Should have
I look
started
kind
that
of militant.
sentence. Fuck
Slavery
slavery.
is bad, right? Slavery is terrible. It was horrible.
I hate slavery.
Yes,
That's how you should have started it.
that's how you should have started it. So I just kind of skipped their table for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But at
I'd
the
have
end of the
rolled that
night,
bottle over to
like, here you go, champ. Y'all can I just set both bottles on the table and walk away.
Mm.
Take all their cups too, so they have to like drink out of the bottle, just pass it around the table.
But why me and Aunt had to do that at the fight party?
Oh, I was like, yeah, I'm so glad I'm not a red wine person. I'm not sharing a bottle of wine with y'all niggas this way.
Yeah. It was weird.
That was an odd night.
It was
But
weird, but a wine bottle resembles a 40, so it's kind of like we just needed a brown paper bag, but I got over it.
y'all were like bougie thugs. Like, no, nigga, it's not beer in this brown paper bag. It's a Cabernet. Like,
Where essence at though? Where they at though?
Um, so at the end of the night, the hostess is like, "Yeah, my daughter was really upset with me for buying tiki torches." And I asked her why, and she started yelling in my face, "Charlottesville, Charlottesville."
Oh shit.
And so I was like, wow, so they really did just ruin a good thing for everybody. And I
So
wasn't
her
thinking
daughter
about that.
was wokish.
Her daughter was wokish, and that's why she ran out of nowhere and snatched the lighter from me, because in her mind, like, oh my
Don't you have
gosh,
her light those tiki torches? Don't you know
how
what just
could my
happened?
mom? And I'm like, girl, it's bug repellent. Like, it's not like tiki torches aren't racist. It's not like tiki torches are
You know
refusing
what?
to
But
like
is
black
that
people.
woke? Is that woke or is that get out? Like that's kind of get out where it's like you're making it awkward for me
Right,
by
right.
by being so woke in this situation. Like some people just need, you know,
Just yeah,
a,
just
a little
calm
less
down.
coffee, a little less coffee, a little less coffee. Okay,
Yeah,
can't take it.
so first chance I got, as soon as the chef was like, "All right, I think you're done here," I peaced out so quick. So I was like,
Yo.
"Y'all are not about to pull out these little teacups and get me caught up over here." Mm-mm.
So you
Nope.
did this all on a favor?
No, there was a check involved.
Okay, I was about to
Yeah.
say.
Now, I love my friends, but
Yeah.
6 hours of serving white people.
I was like, something about this isn't working
Yeah,
for
like as
me.
the only black server, the only like there were a couple of other people of color, but they were kind of
But
snooty. So I'm just like,
okay, but
this is a weird experience.
it would have been worse if there were more black servers.
Yeah, but at least if they could have had like maybe like a Captain Planet duo, like a black server, an Asian server, a white server, like
Something.
it was weird, but it's over.
Have you ever thrown a party where you asked people to be servers for you?
I have not.
That's some boss ass shit that I thought I only saw on um TV. I didn't think people did that.
That shit
Like,
happens. It happens in real life.
I don't desire to ever do it, but I can't imagine doing it. Like, I don't know, functions that I rock with have a table that has the bottle on it. And you may have what you call bartenders,
Right.
but you ain't walking around
But
pouring
not
people's
not
stuff.
servers. I feel like if Lou hasn't already done this, that shit is on his
Oh,
to-do list.
it is. If not bucket list.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Like
And
Lou probably wants to like swing open some French doors and like do that fancy ass clap like servers, and then have them like come out and feed people grapes.
like the music started as soon as it come on. This nigga take off a top hat.
Right. Oh
It would have been
gosh.
perfect if Lou was the person you pinged to let you know where you were because
Right.
of Lil Rel. The Lil Rel comparison, like that should have been perfect.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, speaking of Lil Rel,
Y'all.
he made a briefish appearance in the season finale of Insecure. Um, how did you feel about it? I was kind of underwhelmed.
With the episode
Yeah, like
or his appearance?
the whole episode. Like his appearance was cool, but just the whole episode,
The 30 days of such and such, like they did 30 days of each person and kind of like a montage and how they all tied in. Like I get it from a movie standpoint, but in a TV show, it was just like, was this necessary?
I
Because
didn't
it
think
was,
it was.
yeah, it was like I didn't think that anything happened in any of their 30 days that kind of needed a montage of sorts, but I don't know. I thought it was a decent episode. I didn't think much happened. Well, a lot happened, but I didn't really. I don't know. Finales to me leave you with a huge cliffhanger. Um, you get kind of conclusions to some of the things you were thinking and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, but it just seemed like another episode.
It did. And the 30 days thing was weird to me because for this whole season, I've been trying to figure out the timeline and like
Right.
how long in between episodes, how much time has passed,
Right.
because it just almost seems like everything kind of took place within like a month or two, when in reality it was probably like 6 months, maybe somewhere in there. So then for the last episode, for them to be like, okay, 30 days in the life of Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the first note on my list of notes is, why the fuck do we care about Lawrence's 30 days?
Yeah, he don't do shit. Like,
He
it
don't
usually
do
take him
shit.
6 years to do shit.
Right. um, so yeah, that was a little bit odd for me, but I did appreciate. I guess I kind of get why they did the 30 days, because you want to see like where everybody's mental was at by the end of the episode.
And
But
I also feel like, what was this, the 8th episode? So I also feel like
mhm,
they have a bit of an abbreviated season. So it would have probably been, they couldn't have had the storyline continuous like they've had up until this episode and get
right.
far enough to where it feels like you had a full season. So I think the montages were kind of necessary, but it just didn't feel like we cared about. I just didn't care about much of the stuff that happened in the montages. Because what happened? What happened with the people in the montages? Like
So
Lawrence. Go ahead. You can explain it.
yeah, so Lawrence got hot and heavy with Aparna.
Mm-hmm.
They had kitchen sex,
Counter sex. Like,
counter sex.
what the hell? That's the most popular sex on TV. Counter sex and couch sex.
It is.
Bed sex is boring
Yeah,
on
bed sex is
TV.
out. Bed sex is like so 2016. We're fucking on counters and couches now.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that would have been a good podcast name, Counters and Couches.
Counters and couches.
But yeah, so they seem to be going pretty hot and heavy. But Lawrence is so hung up on, was his name Jeremy?
Let's say his name is Jeremy.
We're gonna call him Jeremy. I don't know what his name was. Like the
That's his name
guy,
today.
the guy that like he found out because the other co-workers are nosy bitches and can't keep their mouths shut. They pretty much revealed that she got drunk and started fucking with one of their other co-workers, Jeremy. And for some reason, well, I shouldn't say for some reason, I understand, but he couldn't let that go. And so for that entire 30 minutes, like he was basically fixated on her relationship with Jeremy. Like, why didn't y'all work out? And she was like, I mean, he's cool and he's funny, but we didn't really click. So like,
Right. I was
we're
drunk.
decent as co-workers. I was drunk.
Every time I was drunk.
Like we're good as co-workers and friends, but we didn't work that way. And so
Didn't
he's
that
just like,
feel like a ode to, I think I said this the last time we were talking about Jeremy coming up, and it felt like an ode to A in Awkward Black Girl.
mm-hmm.
And that whole storyline. Like Lawrence was who was also, was she, I don't remember her name in Awkward Black Girl. It was a letter, but anyway. And A was what we call him, Frank? What did we just call the guy?
Jeremy?
The funny guy at work, Jeremy. Yeah, it
Yeah.
felt like A was Jeremy, and what was his name? Fred from Awkward Black Girl. Because it just seemed like she was extra cool about everything, but just like blasé about stuff. But
yeah. So Lawrence is like observing the way that she's interacting with him in the office. Like he says something, she laughs. He's upset about it. I mean, she already said he's funny. So like it shouldn't be a surprise that she's laughing. And what's even weirder is she suggests to him that he gets on Jeremy's project because, he's like in between since Woot Woot didn't work out.
Right.
And, so he gets on Jeremy's project and she's like, Jeremy says you're doing pretty good. And so like, he's uptight about that. And it all comes to a head when they're driving in the car and he's talking and she's distracted because she's texting and laughing.
And he thinks it's Jeremy.
He thinks it's Jeremy. Like, oh, is that Jeremy that funny? And she's like, no, it's my sister. Look at what my niece did. And he's like, oh. And she's like, you know what? No, fuck it. Pull the car over. Because I've been here before and I'm not doing this again. This is the second time you done
brung up Jeremy.
Right.
And I done been down this road. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she's like pieces out and that's it for Aparna. And that's basically it for Lawrence's 30 days. Oh, he ran a marathon
Yeah, with her.
with her. And sees Issa standing on the sidelines and like
Yeah, the
catches a
marathon
little
was
bit of
kind of the
feelings.
tie-in point between all the 30 days.
Right. They were all there, which is weird. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how small
Right.
is that area? Because I
I think
know,
they're all in Inglewood,
yeah, I
or
don't
I
know.
would.
Yeah, I would. I don't know anything about the West Coast, so I can't
No.
say how small that area is, but it's just weird to me because like the DMV is not a big place, but
Well,
there are people that I've never run into, and they live really like I had a high school classmate
right.
that worked at the next exit up in the mall. I would go into that mall, she would be working, and I would never run into her. So, like, for
Mm.
y'all to keep popping up and running into each other at the same places all the time, like that's just
Yeah, and it was more than just the race. Like Molly and him were at the same restaurant. It was just like, but it was 30 days, and like Issa and him weren't so different. So I think they all kind of hung around the same places anyway. So they all
right.
had kind of the same taste in places. But I don't know. In 30 days, I don't run into the same people. But
Mm-mm.
from what I heard, LA is kind of small though. From what
Okay.
I heard it's not that big of a place. I don't know like what that means. I don't know if it's smaller than if they're saying it's like PG County, because there's people in PG County I won't run into twice within
Right.
a month.
But PG
But
County is pretty big though.
it is. But from Lawrence's 30 days, the one thing, like you were just talking about, what's her name?
Aparna.
Aparna. So you were just talking about how she asked him to be on Jeremy's. No, he actually said, like, what do you think about me starting a new thing or blah, blah, blah. And she was like, actually, you should try getting on Jeremy's.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was like us seeing him be real with himself. Like he was about to go back into being that same bitch mode that he was in when he was on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see, like, I think that was a scene to kind of show his growth in that, yeah, it may be a good idea, that I get on there with Jeremy, because I think that was before he started tripping about Jeremy.
Right.
So yeah, he was like, yeah, yeah, maybe why not? Maybe, I'll try that. Like, I think it's like, you don't have to be the man every time. Like, it's okay to be a part of a team and to just be a part of something rather than being the thing every time. And I thought that we saw his growth in that, but that growth was so temporary because he definitely has PTSD
He does.
on being cheated on. So it's like, I don't know, like you said, with the timeline of the show, I don't know if he should be over this by now, but it doesn't feel like it.
No. Well, and
Yeah.
like they never, him and Issa keep running into each other. He's seeing pictures of her with the dude that she cheated on him with.
But
So,
that shit happens. That happened to me recently. Like, you know what I mean? You see
mm-hmm.
Instagram pics and you do what he did. You
You block.
you block him. You block him. You put away stuff you can't look at. But at the same token, I mean, there's PTSD in all of us because of stuff that we go through, and I think
Mm-hmm.
we're just seeing him go through it. Which, until you get closure, that's what you're gonna go through. But I guess before we get to that, we have Issa and Molly 30 days also, right?
Right, right. So Molly is going on job interviews now because she is trying to get leverage with the company that she works for, which is interesting to me. I guess, now that I'm talking about it aloud,
Mm-hmm.
because she got like offers from different companies, but her
Mm-hmm.
whole thing was like, instead of going with this new company and trying something
Take the
new,
offer to the company.
I just want to take the offer to my company and have them give me more money and stay where I am because I've already put work in here.
It's a
Which kind
thing.
of, yeah, well, but it also speaks to like the way she's treating relationships, right?
Yes. Yep.
Because
Yep.
she goes back to the counselor and the counselor was like, why don't you give Quentin. Is that his name?
Yep, Quentin.
Why don't you? Because on my notes, I just wrote insecure Lou. Why don't you give Quentin a try? And she's like, oh, he's not really my type, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? Why do chicks always pass over the good dude? Like,
Boredom. I
yeah,
think they're afraid of boredom. The
like if the
safe
dude
dude.
isn't putting you in a shitty spot, all of a sudden you don't want him. Like, so she's
I
like, he's
think
not my type. Eh.
don't I feel like you think women feel like they have time before they need to settle down from that? Like they think they have life to live and go ahead and live in that life. They still at the age, which I don't know if these women are in this show, but I
Mm-hmm.
think some women who are younger feel like they can still tame that wild beast and grow old with that person and change them into being who they want them to be because they feel in the overall lifespan of their life, they will be more happy. If the overall span of their life, they would be more happy having tamed the exact person who they think they want rather than going with someone safe. It's kind of like the teen movies we were talking about with the
Mm-hmm.
cheerleader marrying the quarterback, the star quarterback, as opposed to two people who were just regular or you being the cheerleader marrying the debate team guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it just seems like they feel they have time, and I think we're getting a lot of that from Molly, where it's just like Quentin is so normal. And it was the same thing with the old dude who came to her family function, which I thought was mad early. But it was
Mm-hmm.
like it was it's like those dudes are too safe for her. And represents like Dro represents familiarity to a certain extent with also a little bit of a danger involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if Dro was available, would she be as interested in it, in
I'm
him?
going to say she wouldn't because I'm sure there was a point when he was available and she was available and it didn't happen.
Yeah, and that's that whole marrying, or that's that whole being with a friend thing. Like, I think they were so close growing up that it was just like they just never looked at each other that way. And I think clearly he probably looked at her that way, but that's probably how it
Mm-hmm.
usually works. Usually it probably is the guy who looks at the woman beforehand than the other way around. I think. I don't know.
Mm,
I can't speak on it, but
yeah.
but yeah,
But
go ahead.
so to speak to your point about the time thing, I don't think it's so much time, but I do think that you hit the nail on the head with the fixing thing
Hmm.
because I think it's a common, and I don't want to make a blanketed statement, but I think hearing so many of not my female friends, but hearing female conversations and hearing women be like, "Oh no, girl, you got to train him to do blah blah blah." Like, no, like I need you to come to me as a whole ass grown up. That's
Yeah.
what I need. Like, I don't want to have to train you. You're not a dog. You're a
Nope.
human.
Nope.
And I think that's what it is. Like, oh, he's a little rough around the edges, but with a little bit of guidance and coaching, he can be a better person. Like, he's not a house. He's not a fixer upper. He's a person. So you need to
Right.
be able to like fuck with him in his current state.
Right.
So, but I think that's probably the thing. Like, oh, he's kind of a bad boy, but there's like some kind of achievement or accomplishment that they feel that
And
they
there's
can
no
get.
bad boy to Dro outside of this open
He's
marriage
married.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
there's no bad boy about him outside of that. And I think they did a decent job at showing it. I think that's what they tried to do with Daniel in the beginning. Like to
Hmm.
kind of put him out there as just being this different dude. But I don't think they're portraying any men in the movie as like in the show as like that the bad boy type, which is good. They're just, and I don't even really think they're showing them to be much different than the counterparts. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
maybe that's something I don't think they're doing a great job at, but it more so feels like it's more of the situation than the person involved.
Yeah.
Like what's his name? When Daniel first popped up, it was because they had history, and it was like that unscratched itch And it was like, oh, he's really into music. I'm into music. I do random raps in my bathroom, and he has a studio. It was just like familiarity and kind of the comfort zones with those people seeming like they relate to them more when you're in a disagreement with the person you're with.
Right.
Yeah, so maybe it's not about the people, because we heard a lot of that today when we were just kind of asking around about how people thought about the show.
Mm-hmm.
That I heard a lot of, like, Quentin was the better guy. Why not go with Quentin? And maybe it's the better situation. I don't know to her that it's the better guy.
Right. Right. Um, yeah, and I honestly feel like Quentin could have had like the bomb. Well, okay, well, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Um, so Molly's therapist suggests that she gives Quentin a try. Her and Quentin go out, like they go out for dinner one night, and she hits him with the homie, like, oh yeah, homie, like just to let him know,
Mm-hmm.
no, dude, you're a friend. This is not a romantic date. You're my friend. But then later on, they're working late on a case, and he pops out the Henny,
Mm-hmm.
and they start taking sips or whatever. And instead of just suggesting that maybe they go out on a real date or get to know each other a little bit better in a romantic way, Molly fucks him. I was like, this is so rushed. What are you doing? This is a horrible life decision. But so she fucks him, and then she basically tells the girls, she doesn't say it's meh. Issa says it for her. Like, I mean, maybe it's meh, but maybe the second time will be better.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't really go much past that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think that even if the sex was phenomenal, I still think that she wouldn't have gone with him because he doesn't represent what she wants. Like, he's not the tall, muscular, physique god that she's looking for in a man with money.
I mean,
And
there's nothing muscular about Dro, but
Dro is wiry. He's
or
very
money.
wiry. Yeah, I don't think he has money either, but
But what's his name does? Quentin does.
Quentin does, yeah. But for some reason, now all of a sudden she's not interested in that.
I mean, it's
Like,
the situation. He's available,
yeah.
and she's looking for what's not obtainable at the moment.
Mm-hmm. So then we get to Issa's 30 days,
Mm-hmm.
which, to be honest with you, I really don't even remember. Like, of all of the
Nothing happened in her 30 days. It
nothing really
was,
happened. Like, she almost lost her job.
yep.
She has to move. Like, she's trying to find a place to move because of the rent increase on her gentrified neighborhood. Like, her neighborhood is up and coming now. So now the new people who bought the Dunes, her apartment, like, they're raising her rent.
Mm-hmm.
And
They
so
done
she has
kick
to move.
Mike Epps. They kicked Mike Epps and Ice Cube out. That's the same joint they was in Friday After Next.
Was it? Damn.
Miss Pearly done kicked everybody out that
Kicked
joint.
everybody out. She sold it for a check.
Right.
Yeah, so
They already improved the pool
mm-hmm.
in 30 days. They already have stores moving in 30 days. They already got white people. I'm sorry. They already
Yeah.
got the white lady outside handing out flyers
Mm-hmm.
in 30 days.
Right. All of the old, like, the small businesses, the black owned businesses, all of those seem to have disappeared. So it's just a whole bunch of for sale and for rent signs up on the storefront.
Done renamed the city.
I would instead of Inglewood. Yeah, and then she comes up with an idea to help the Latin population at the school that her job, we got y'all, they're supposed to be tutoring kids, but the principal is only interested in making sure that the black kids get the resources and not the Latin kids. So she's tutoring the Latin kids on the weekend, and her boss is like, well, what made you come up with this great idea? And then when she lets her know, like, basically the principal won't let us do it at the school. And then she's like, wait a minute, is this segregation? this is going to look really bad on our organization. And so then they're like, I'm really going to have to think about your future with this company.
Right.
Yeah. And as a consequence, right.
Yeah.
As a consequence, her partner, whose name I can't remember, but she gets a promotion. So now she's like director of student programming or something like that. Which is kind of fucked up because it really was Molly, not Molly, Issa, that had to like go to the principal and finally like voice, her word. Like, I think what you're doing here is wrong. All the children need to be represented. And it was Issa that came to her with the ideas on how to make things better. I guess it happens. Yeah, so then kind of at the end, everybody converges. Issa lets Daniel know that she has a box of his stuff there and she wants him to have the couch. And they meet up. She lets him know that she's not going to be in the apartment from a certain time to a certain time so he can come without seeing her. But when she gets there, he's there. And they
Not
have
that it mattered, but old girl name was Frida.
Frida, yes, okay. Yeah, so her and Daniel have like this really super sweet, touching moment of closure that if I had feelings, it would have been like a teary moment. But since I don't give a fuck about nothing, it was it was just an interesting scene to watch.
So I kind of feel like the soft person in the group of our draw two group.
Our wolf pack of two.
Right.
Nah, it was really sweet and it was touching, and it was nice to hear both of them admit to their shortcomings. She basically admitted that there was a point where he was really strong for her, and when he had a moment of weakness, she was still trying to make him be strong for her when it should have been the other way around, and she should have been supporting him. And he kind of admitted that he had too many expectations of her and himself. And he had kind of put her in this place in his mind of where she needed to be, and then got complacent.
Yeah. I think it was good closure. I think the scene made sense. All of it. I think like I think every part of her 30 days made sense. Where I didn't question anything she did. Everything this was the first episode where you kind of didn't feel like she was being annoying and you didn't feel like she was just being stupid. Like everything she did made sense. It was something that you can see yourself doing. And she was actually, it felt like was being thoughtful in a way. The only thing that threw me off was the dinner thing with her and Molly. And I think it's because they were talking about going to Morocco, but she couldn't afford it at the time. And so they kind of did Morocco in her apartment. So
yeah, cool. Molly did Morocco for her. She recreated Morocco since she couldn't go.
Right.
So yeah, that was cool. What really got me was that scene where Lawrence is about to leave.
Fucking montage.
And he says goodbye, Issa. And she says goodbye, Lawrence. And then he turns around and asks her to marry him. And then there's like that whole future montage of them getting married, and then she gets pregnant, and then they have a kid. Like, okay, so it was a sweet montage because
they had the Issa and Lawrence, Keisha and DMX overhead belly scene.
That didn't make it a sweet montage, but yeah. You like it did for me.
No, but I thought that's what they were going for. I was just waiting for the light blue light, and I don't know, no fucking Keon. I was just waiting on that.
Issa would have all that fucking Vaseline on her face. I don't know why Keisha was so fucking shiny in that movie.
She was greasy as hell, but I wasn't mad at her. I wasn't mad.
Blot, bitch, blot.
She was so greasy. I just felt like that big ass, airy ass house was just hot. That's what I was just feeling like.
They didn't have any central AC because they were probably still in New York.
Yes.
And it was like the middle of July, and she was
Right.
just walking around sweating with like an air unit somewhere, a
Right.
window unit.
Or she just had the conversation with T-Boz when she told her Africa is far. So she was feeling real Africa right now.
She was feeling the heat from Africa from the
Mhm.
conversation. Yeah, so you get to see like this whole future play out for Issa and Lawrence,
Mhm.
and that touched me because don't we all, in some degree, you know, maybe you don't want kids, maybe you do want kids, but everybody wants like that happy ending in life. So that was cool to see. But then I was also yelling really loud. Sorry, neighbors. Like, no, this is not right. No, what the fuck
Right.
is this? Because it just seems so out of place. And then I was
It
like, wait a
was out of
minute,
place. Right.
this is a dream sequence. Like,
As soon as that baby popped up, I was like, nope, this is fake. She's dreaming this.
she's imagining it. For once, she's not rapping. Thank God. But
Right.
yeah. So then, of course, you find out that it's just kind of her picturing their whole future or whatever. And he walks out in his little hot ass sweater, even though there are other people walking by the pool in swimming trunks and no shirt. But
Yo,
um,
that whole wardrobe thing had me confused. Because even Issa didn't have on anything. I was like, Lawrence is the only cold nigga in this
right.
whole episode.
He's like, I got thin blood. I gotta keep my arms warm. But yeah,
Shouldn't he
so
have had a couch?
I felt like he would have had a couch by that point. Well,
It's been
no,
a
he
long
didn't.
ass time without a couch.
Remember, he didn't because he got speakers before he got furniture because he wanted to make sure that they could he could watch the game. He could hear the game properly.
And so he's gonna sit on the floor and watch the game in
I
the living
guess
room?
so. Or maybe he had like little folding chairs or something.
Probably.
I don't know. Sheets on his windows for curtains. You know how we
Right.
do.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a cool ending. And then I think like one of the last scenes was Molly. She was texting somebody and smiling and laughing. And
The
so
most
you're like,
predictable scene of the episode.
like, oh, that's so sweet. Her and Quentin, or wait a minute. And she's like trying on lingerie. So she puts her lingerie on and she opens the door. And like as the door was cracking, I was like, that nigga Dro better not be on the other side of that door. And then I saw that little light skinned elbow pop out. And I was like, that motherfucker. Damn it. So
Mellow
she's
5 don't even look anything like you.
so she's back to fucking Dro.
She's so
Which is just, but like I was sitting there looking at that and I was like thinking about thinking about a couple of Facebook posts I've seen lately about how niggas with good dick will just fuck up your life because they ain't shit. And I was like, well, this seems like it falls under that narrative of he's probably a really good lay, but he's no good for her. And he might not fuck up her credit or anything like that, but he's definitely gonna like fuck up her head when there comes that point where she's really caught feelings and she wants him to be with her and her only, and he's going to hit her with that, I'm married, you knew what this was.
Mm-hmm. Like, what did you think we were going to be? The trip would have been if it was, what's her name at the door?
Mm-hmm.
If it was Joe's wife at the door.
That would have been,
that would have
been a cliffhanger.
That should have been how you should have ended the episode. It's her at the door, and it's like Dro is nowhere to be seen, or Dro is in the back looking guilty as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But,
head bowed down, like sorry.
Yeah, but I think that would have been more difficult. But if it had her at the door, and then she just had this kind of look on her face, and then the joint ended, that would have been dope. We need to be producers.
We
this
do.
Is bullshit.
Damn it! Fuck this podcast. We need to start. We need to start writing scripts.
Right.
Yeah. So overall, it was a decent episode. I just kind of expected a little more wow at the end. Yeah. And I think the most enjoyable part of the whole thing for me was the bonus Due North finale at the end of everything. Like that made my whole night. But
I had to go back and watch it because New York didn't see it. the episode, period. So I watched it a second time last night, and I made sure we watched that last part. That joint was so ridiculous, yo.
It was hilarious. And I don't think I've ever laughed so hard at the statement, I hate slavery before. But Michael Jai White is a
Right.
fucking
Right.
so stupid. I
Right.
hate slavery. Oh man. But yeah, that really made the episode for me, because if it wasn't for that, I would have been like, this shit is whack.
He had your foot cut off. You did this to me. I hate slavery.
Yeah, that was cracking up at whoever the master was, like when he was looking at his son, like, yeah, if this typhoid, I know you got the typhoid fever,
Right.
but if you ever get your voice back, you remember that you don't talk about what you saw here tonight.
Right.
Like, oh, damn.
You can never talk again. Shut the hell up.
Now eat these greens. And little boy said, they're like, no.
I just think it was dope that they had that show be a part of the show. It was kind of
Right.
cool that they did that.
It was,
And it
yeah.
had like main actors on it. Even the simple slave isn't a main actor, but he's always in he used to be in ADD, All Deaf Digital.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be in their sketches. He hasn't been in them in a while, but I recognized him from that. I was like, let me find out they got him in here being a simple slave. But I also love this show for all the cameos too, because if you follow Issa, there's tons of cameos that she has in the show.
Like, we're in the era now where, as much as we watch TV, we also watch, like, we follow groups on YouTube. So like the different sketch groups and stuff like that. So it's dope to see them popping up. Like, she's just giving them little cameos and stuff. Like,
I'm telling you,
was it first season when we were like, yeah, it's the Fly Guy?
Yeah, if Fly Guys is ever made to be a series on network TV, that shit would hit. Like, I think it would hit. Although a lot of people don't know about Fly Guys.
Yeah,
that was my shit. I watch it or listen to it like twice a year, maybe.
Damn.
But
yeah, it was entertaining though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of wraps up our insecure talk.
Yeah. I did have one more thing that I wanted to talk about. And I think what I'm going to do, Keem, is introduce it. But I kind of think this should be like the squad show that we recap from the weekend recaps. And that everybody should see it before we do a spoiler post.
I'm going to agree with you.
I'm just going to kind of introduce it, and then we can close out the show.
Cool.
So the show is called, it's HBO show, The Deuce. And the pilot episode, I think, was leaked a couple of weeks ago, but I just saw it over this weekend. I know it aired this weekend. I don't know if it leaked on HBO Go, or they leaked it on HBO Go, and then it actually aired this past weekend. It was an 1.5-hour pilot episode, and The Deuce is starring James Franco as Frankie and also as Vincent. That'll make sense once you start watching the show. Maggie Gyllenhaal is playing Eileen, nicknamed Candy Merrill, who's a prostitute who works for herself. She's a self-employed prostitute, and
she can't make that much money though.
There's a bunch of pimps who want to tell her the same thing in the show, and she's just like, I'm never going to have a man in my pocket again. So
she has such a struggle face. Like,
yo.
But maybe it's what that mouth do. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, T.
I don't know. It has to be what that mouth do. And maybe the struggle face means more jaw. I don't know. I don't know if it means more jaw space. She looks like droopy to me, but
like, do you think when she's like trying to get Johns, she like goes out and plays Sarah McLachlan songs like "In the Arms of an Angel," like for just $50?
You could sponsor.
You could help this poor prostitute get food tonight.
A self-employed. Yeah. And she probably had like a little flyer, like, I'm a pimp hoe. Like, I pimp myself. What about these kids? I got 5 kids to feed. Like, but yeah, apparently she's a self-employed hoe in the show. And the
Bars.
big thing, I'm not a rapper. The show is produced by George. Let's see if I can pronounce his last name. Pelicanos.
Okay.
And David Simon. They both worked on The Wire and Treme and some other shows. And the interesting thing about them two are they're both from here, both from the DC area.
Oh, okay, cool.
George went to University of Maryland, College Park, and he currently lives in Silver Spring. And I just read that David is from the area, but they both worked on The Wire, which was also a local show.
Mm-hmm.
And just like any of the shows that you see any of the people from The Wire, and there's always other people from The Wire in it. So this show has Lawrence Gilliard Jr., who plays a cop in this show. They got Big G from the Backyard Band, who was
Big
also in
G.
The Wire. And Method Man, who I think had a small part in The Wire. He was, what's his name, cousin. The big dude's a drug dealer. He was his nephew.
I never watched it.
He was his nephew, actually. What?
That is the most emotion I've ever heard in your voice.
What the?
I never watched The Wire. I never watched Oz. Like, somebody explain Oz.
I can
to me
understand Oz. I cannot understand the Wire. Okay, this is my thing. I have not a phobia. You can probably call it a phobia. I don't like hood movies because they're too realistic. I'll watch horror movies all day long, but I can't do. I can barely do Boys in the Hood. I cannot do what's the one I'm thinking of? What old dog?
Menace to Society.
Menace to Society. I cannot do. Like movies where it's just black on black kind of thing, and it's like it's crime, it's realistic crimes kind of thing, and you got people who just don't give a damn, like, and they just kill for whatever, and it's like this whole hood mentality. I can't do shows like that. However, was just brilliant. Everything about it was brilliant. So it's like, I think there's even a quote from Stephen King about George Pelicanos. I think there's a quote about from Stephen King said he's the best crime writer in history.
Well, damn.
Basically. And the other dude, David Simon, was a writer. He was a crime reporter for the Baltimore Sun. And the Baltimore Sun ended up playing a big part in The Wire also. But you got to see the show, Keem. Like I don't even know what's happening right now. Like I'm kind of done this premise.
I saw The Corner. Does that?
Hell no.
Does that?
That's such bullshit.
Like, does that count? It was also about drug dealing in Baltimore, but
that's like someone saying, "Oh no, I never saw Boys in the Hood, but I saw Baby Boy." Is that the same thing? Like, no, watching that silly ass shit.
Oh, I'll have to. This reminds me of when I was in college and I told somebody that I had never seen Scarface and they threatened to take my black card away. So I did
not see Scarface until college, but my black card is usually getting revoked for The Color Purple.
I mean,
I don't know. People want to take it. I don't like
the quotables, but
yeah,
like it's not like one that I watch. Yeah, I don't. Like, you told Hoppo to beat me all my life. I had to fight. I got it, but I don't really feel like I need to see it every time it comes on.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Black Snake Moan, maybe. But yeah, the premise or the plot of this show is it's set in 1970s through the 1980s, New York City, and it's the porn industry and the prostitution scene from the 1970s and 80s in Times Square, New York. And one of the interesting tidbits they hit on the last part of the show, of the first episode, was that they had to totally recreate Times Square, because you can't shoot 1970s and 80s Times Square in the current Times Square because it looks nothing like it looked back then.
Right.
Did it not on set, but they did it in I want to say it was Brooklyn or Queens, but I can't remember. Anyway, I think it was like Columbia Heights or something like that. That name kind of makes sense to me, but maybe not. But you can see the influence from the producers who also did The Wire, because it has the same style. Like in The Wire was one of the first shows where you got kind of got storylines on both the sides of the police and of the hustler. So like you got the drug scene where they did character development on both sides. So most shows before that was either a cop show or it was like a hood show. You kind of got glimpses of it in like New York Undercover, where they kind of made you care that Ray Ray didn't get shot. But in The Wire, it was like you cared about the whole, like all the characters to a certain extent. It had the same kind of character development as what's the name of the show that just went off that we were watching, Game of Thrones. It had that same kind of character development. You either hated somebody and wanted them to die or you loved someone who ended up dying. Like everybody kind of got it in that show, and it was pretty great. So you got to watch it. But this show is similar.
So every time that show hurts my feelings, I don't care what time it is, I'm going to call you crying.
It shouldn't hurt you. Well, Michael B. Jordan got his start in The Wire, I believe, and you see him really young. But yeah, a lot of people. Mac Wilds got his start in The Wire. A lot of people got their start there. It's good shit. You just gotta watch it.
Okay.
I rewatch it maybe once every 5 years because it's a long series. But anyway. It's not about The Wire.
Yeah, because everybody's like, are we talking about The Wire or The Deuce? Like,
so everyone needs to watch The Deuce. We're going to be hopefully talking about that. And I know Lucas was really looking forward to talking about it. And
so we can save it for next Monday.
So yeah, we'll save it for next Monday. We'll have 2 episodes of that show. I think there'll be 2 episodes of that show in by then. And I'm not sure when Curb starts.
Yeah, I don't know when that starts either. Soon, but I don't know exactly when.
Yeah, and I don't know where that starts either. If that starts from where they left off, or it's just new, whatever. But we'll talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
But yep, that's it. Watch The Deuce. Good shit.
Right. We hope that you guys enjoyed hearing the two of us banter back and forth. If not, sorry. Y'all can send, like, you can post a little "fuck you, Lou," "fuck you, Aunt" messages in the comment section. Yep. What we do ask is that you give us your feedback, because we are trying to grow and be better for everybody as we continue on. So we love hearing feedback, whether it be good or constructive criticism.
Do we give out the email or no?
Nah, they can leave it in the comment section. That's cool. Okay. Because none of us are going to go to check the emails. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Tell your friends about us. If they're searching for us on YouTube, it is Draw4. You have to spell out FOUR. If you put the number 4, you're going to get something totally different. Me. And we will be back. Actually, we'll be recording tomorrow. We'll be doing our squad cast with our usual topics snatched out of the headlines or off of Facebook, or snatched out of some conversation that we had and said, this should be a topic. So until the next show, T, you got anything to say?
Nope. Like you said, subscribe, convince people to subscribe, put your notifications on so you know when we post, but we'll try to do most times Wednesdays and Thursdays. If you got any other suggestions as far as categories, like you said, let us know. That'll be helpful. Anything y'all want us to talk about, that'll be helpful. If you got a story you want to share, we can maybe venture into that. We'll all be kind of also putting some of our own content on the channel at some points. It can be audio or mostly audio. But I think it would be a good idea for you guys to just let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to hear more of, that kind of thing.
Word. So until the next time, squad out.